Good morning. Here we are again in Bergen. We're looking out across this area now that is going to host the road races over the coming days. We're going to get things started with the junior women's road race. The weather's changed totally. It's now 15 degrees centigrade, but the wind has picked up significantly now, 29 kilometers an hour. Contrast that with a few days ago. It was 1 kilometer an hour. We're seeing then the riders coming to the start line. The junior women are lining up. 92 riders will be in this peloton. And here are the previous winners, some big names of the world of cycling here in the last few years. Elisa Balsamo of Italy took a great victory last year. Chloe Dygert, who finished 4th in the elite time trial a couple of days ago, she's won it. Amelie Diedrichsen, she took the victory on 2 occasions. As we see last year's sprint between Elisa Balsamo, Skylar Schneider and Suzanne Andersen. It was Balsamo who took it, second was Schneider. Suzanne Andersen of Norway was in 3rd place. All smiles from them on a very warm day. As we take a look here at what the riders will face. 19.1 kilometer laps, 4 laps in total, 76.4 kilometers of racing. It includes what has been nicknamed Salmon Hill, 1.5 kilometers. 6.4% is the gradient of the climb. But it's quite a technical course, and with the wind, it's going to present some problems. And also, there is the promise of some rain to add to that as well. This is the rundown then of the 92 riders. As we look there on the start line, the Dutch riders just getting organised. So we'll make sure you know who's making the moves as we get this race underway. Well, over the last few days, the number of people here in Bergen has increased even more. It is going to be very, very busy over the coming days. This peloton about to roll out. They're on restricted gears as normal. The rollout of the gear must be no more than 7.93 meters. So the riders can use a gear that means that when you turn the pedals once, they don't travel more than 7.93 meters. Big crowd to greet these junior riders. Every single person you talk to is saying the crowds are fantastic. The enthusiasm of everybody is making these riders very, very motivated. The Italian team then on the front, getting themselves ready for racing. All smiles. I think these young riders are enjoying this atmosphere. 30 seconds until we get the race underway. Yeah, a big crowd in the finishing straight. There'll be a lot of people on the climbs over the coming days. And they're underway then in the junior women's road race. Let's hope that the weather doesn't end up raining, because we really don't want that, particularly on these roads. As quite a lot of leaves had fallen yesterday, although the course has now been cleaned again. But it's a little bit slick on some of the corners as soon as the rain starts to fall. Things will settle down, I'm sure. We'll get the usual flat-out racing as these riders just spin along. 76.4 kilometers is a good distance for these junior riders. And as Peter Sagan has just reminded us all on his Twitter feed, today is World Car Free Day, so it's a good day to be watching some bike racing. They make their way out of the tunnel, where we have got used to the time trial happening, haven't we, where they come out of that tunnel and they swoop round to the right. Near the front then, in the Azzurri blue of Italy, the Italian team looking good. Great Britain also present at the front. The team of the Netherlands also staying very close to the front. And you've really got to try and stay as close to the front as you possibly can in this style of racing. You don't want to get any of the splits that happen at the back of the race present you with any issues. Well, yesterday all the junior riders attended a conference last night, which was very, very interesting indeed. And present at the junior conference, as the Italians just look around, a little bit of a problem for one of the Italian riders. A little tech problem, I think. Yesterday at the junior conference, there was Annemiek van Vleuten, Anna van der Breggen, Thor Hushoff, Bob Jungels, Emilia Moberg, and Toby Atkins, who did lots of talks about tips and hints and everything for these juniors. I think that Italian rider is working her way all the way back to the peloton, has got a big problem looking for the team car. And lots of interesting information was imparted. I thought Annemiek van Vleuten was absolutely fantastic with the juniors yesterday. She was there in a World Championship jersey, and she gave them loads of information on nutrition, about what to eat, what to drink. They also had a chef there from Dimension Data. And we also had Anna van der Breggen, who gave them loads of information and tips as well. Thor Hushoff just said stay near the front of the race, stay out of the way, and when it comes to the sprint, do your own thing, don't worry about everybody else. Just keep a straight line and go straight for the finish. If you've given it everything, then that's all you can do. So yeah, it was very, very good indeed. There was all sorts of topics covered: nutrition, anti-doping, what to pack in your suitcase even. Anna van der Breggen was giving them some hints and tips on what to take when they race. Ways of dealing with long car journeys and long journeys on aeroplanes. Emilia Moberg was giving them loads of information on that. Bob Jungels was giving them a bit of inspiration. Looking down from the helicopter. So we got the full production today with the motorbikes, helicopters and everything else. Great to be able to bring you the women's junior road race. Well, the 92 riders all safely together. The Canadian team are looking strong on the front as well. I saw them being introduced to the crowd this morning. So the Canadian team, there's 4 members of that team. Erin Atwell, Simone Boylard, Maggie Coles-Lister and Laurie Jussaume. That's the Canadian squad for today. I talked to Nicholas Roach yesterday morning about this course, what he thought of it, and he says you have to stay near the front because after you go over the top of the climb, which is actually harder than most people expected, you then have very technical roads and no real opportunity to recover and get back into the peloton. So you have to be very, very careful to stay as close to the front as you possibly can. And the Italians now are coming back after that issue. So it's Vittoria Gazzini, and with her is Letitia Paternoster. Letitia Paternoster, bronze medalist in the European Championships, wears number 4. So these riders working together to come back. Just shows how strong these Italians are to be able to just ride back through the convoy like this, particularly when the race is quite full on. And as you can hear, lots of horns already being sounded in this peloton. Now the bottom of the climb comes, of the main climb really, Salmon Hill, comes around about 7 kilometres. Around about 6.8 is the base of the climb. Letitia Paternoster. The Taipei rider, Lu Chai Yi, being dropped by the peloton. The Italians are riding on the front, as well as Letitia Paternoster and Vittoria Gazzini coming back. So they are riding a decent tempo so that those riders can come back to the peloton. Still quite full on. Well, they've almost reached the back. Anzela Soloveva of Kazakhstan has been dropped with that acceleration on the climb. And now that we're on the downhill section, these two riders should be able to get back on. Swooping down onto that hot mix across this central roundabout, which a few riders have said if it rains, that's going to be very, very slick indeed. The two Italians then rejoin after 8 minutes of racing. Thanks very much for your messages. If you'd like to join me today, don't forget to follow @UCI_cycling for all the cycling news. And join me on @AntMcCrossan. That's where you can tweet me. And Lance is sitting there with baby Luca enjoying the racing. Good morning to you from Bergen. I hope you're enjoying it. And to everyone else who's watching. This is the junior women's road race. When we look at previous winners of this race, you go through the names, and so many of them have really had fantastic careers or continue to do so. Amelie Diedrichsen was the winner in 2014-2013. She now, of course, World Road Race champion from last year. A little bit of rain starting to fall for these riders. Lucy Garner was the winner in 2012 and 2011. Oh, crash in the peloton. One rider hits the deck. Little touch of wheels. And that was Zaid Hailu, who has hit the deck, the Ethiopian rider. Only one rider falling. So Lucy Garner won this race twice in her career, back-to-back victories. Pauline Ferrand-Prévot was the winner in 2010. Jolene Dora, 2008, was the winner. She's now moving to Orica Scott for next season. That's going to really boost their firepower in the classics. Marianne Vos was the winner of this race in 2004. Nicole Cook, who became Olympic champion, was the winner twice, back-to-back, 2000 and 2001. And the first ever winner was in 1987 and was Catherine Marsal, who went on to have a fantastic career and who now is the coach of Denmark, imparting her knowledge to these young juniors. Madeleine Fasnacht moving up for Australia, staying out of trouble, the only member of the Australian junior team in this race. Madeleine Fastnack already has got a bronze medal in these World Championships, so she will be looking to try and add another one to today if she can. Rona Callender of Great Britain being dropped at the back of the peloton all of a sudden as we head towards the first climb of the day. Any moment now we're at the base of Salmon Hill. This will give us the first indication of what this route is actually like, and all the races follow the majority of this route at some point. The only difference that we have is that the men's junior and men's elite starts in wrong and makes a ride of around about 40 kilometers down to the circuit, and then they're on the circuit. No major attacks so far, which is not a surprise. We're on to Salmon Hill now. This is the profile on the right-hand side, 1.4 kilometers. Very steep at the base and then calms down in the middle. 6.4% is the average gradient. Well, the tempo nice and steady. Couple of riders just feeling the pace. Denmark very well represented towards the front. Italy nice and calm as well. Spain over there on the left-hand side in the red and yellow. Spain have got Ariana Gilbert, Isabel Martin, Sarah Martin and Sofia Rodriguez are the Spanish team today. And the atmosphere on this climb will build over the coming days. Sitting on the back then, number 90, Emilia Udvig from Norway, who actually comes from Bergen. She'll really want to stay in this group. She will not want to be dropped, but she's finding the tempo a little bit hard. Emilia Udvig of Norway. She comes from Paradis, which is on the time trial course, the big loop. A few spots of rain on the lens at this moment, nothing major to speak of. No one prepared to take a little bit of a bid for glory going away. It's a bit too early in this race. And as you can see, a few riders just finding this tempo a little bit hot. It's hard out here. And Emilia Udvig staying with it. She's not far from the top now. If she can just recover, stay in the convoy, then she will get herself back into the race. Hearing on Radio Tour, Martina Fidanza has got a front wheel puncture Fidanza, 4th in the European Championships. So Fidanza has a problem. The Italian so far not having a successful start to this race, with Paternoster having a problem, now Fidanza having a problem. And the German team upping the tempo. The German team today, Ricardo Bauerfeind, Katharina Hechler, Franziska Koch and Hannah Ludwig, who was 4th in the World Championship time trial. Bit of a problem here for Elijah Beattie of the United States of America, now feeling the tempo. Looks like we're getting a bit of a selection without any attacks actually happening. And the group thinning down a little bit, just under the tempo of the German team. And the pace at the front, pretty hard right now. The Danish rider at the front is Emma Jorgensen, 2nd in the European Championships. One of the pre-race favourites. And look at that, you've already got a group of about 25 riders. Jorgensen is in the red and white, dominating the front of this peloton. Taking the line she wants to take. And the rest of the riders just chasing to get back on. There'll be a bit of a problem here for Martina Fidanza. To puncture on that climb is probably the worst place on the course that you can do so. And this race, as it works its way downhill, already very, very stretched. And the Danish rider now going clear. Emma Jorgensen starting to ride away. She hasn't even really attacked Emma Jorgensen, but she's suddenly got a gap. And this is what the riders were saying yesterday, that you can put the pressure on this descent, and it puts everyone into all sorts of trouble because it's technical, it's a little bit narrow. There's a big drain cover on this corner that in the rain you don't want to cover. Oh dear, you don't want to be doing that too much. Jorgensen is absolutely flying downhill. Look at her go. Very impressive indeed. All she's done is literally ridden off the front. And now the group behind, 2 Italians, 1 Brit, Tish rider, and 1 other nationality represented in a chasing group of 4. Well, Jorgensen must be feeling pretty confident. Looks like 5 for Georgie of Great Britain is in there. As we go underneath the hospital. And riders in all sorts of difficulty here at the back. Joanna Johansson of Sweden. And the Italian coach just seeing if Fidanza can come back. Meanwhile, Jorgensen is out of the tunnel and is already building up a big advantage, and purely has done that by her descending skills. Group of maybe 15 or 20 riders behind. Starting to swell a little. And everyone kind of looking around at each other. The Dutch are looking at the Italians. Jorgensen now has 12 seconds of an advantage.
Perfecto, prima.
As we looked down on the peloton, at the front on the left-hand side is Marit Rijmakers, sixth in the time trial. Behind her is Lorena Wiebes, who is the European champion. Over on the right-hand side in the Canadian colours, that's the maple leaf on the back, is Simone Boilard, the Luxembourg rider. Not far behind that front group is Anne-Sophie Harsh. And now the French decide to give a little bit of a chase with Emmeline Eustache. Martina Fidanza almost back at the rear of this peloton. But it's been a long chase. She's having all sorts of problems technically. Can't believe she keeps just having to take her foot out of the pedals and sort the gears out. Meanwhile, this rider at the front, supreme on the descent, Emma Jorgensen. She looks super quick. Jorgensen now with a 29-second advantage. She comes from Silkeborg in central Denmark. It's been a very, very impressive descent. And now the rest of the teams, they seem quite happy to just ride at this moment in time, but she's building a massive advantage. I really wouldn't give Emma Jorgensen this amount of time. She's a very, very good time trialist. Onto the cobbles, and she's been able to choose her line. It's a little bit damp here now, as you can see. Slick on those cobbles. 32 seconds now is advantage as she looks around to see whether anyone is with her. She can't even see the peloton. She'll get shown the gap at some point with the blackboard that comes alongside. In the time trial in the European Championships, Jorgensen took third place. She was just 11 seconds behind Elena Peroni. And this gap is growing significantly now. If they let her get to the climb and then ride up the climb the way she did before and descend, she's going to have a minute by the bottom of it. Fidanza is almost there for Italy. It's been a very, very good chase. The Canadian team then chasing very, very hard. They really can't let Jorgensen go like this because she kind of appeared on the scene of cycling in Denmark when she rode the elite national championships, and she finished second behind Amelia Didriksen back in 2015. Then a year later, Jorgensen then rode the 2016 National Championships, the elite one, not the junior, not the under-23, the elite championship. And she beat Amelia Didriksen into second place. So she's a rider you cannot give this sort of time to onboard cameras with the riders, which is great to see. These new cameras are 4G cameras, so they're able to broadcast straight from the bike rather than any other thing happening. So it's a little innovation that's being tested here. So bearing in mind that in 2016 Amelia Didriksen became the world champion, Emma Jorgensen, this junior rider who's away, won the elite Danish road race championships, beating Amelia Didriksen into second place. Now the Italians are making a concerted effort to try and bring this rider back. The way she's time trialing, though, no one is getting anywhere close to her. 35 seconds the advantage for Jorgensen. She took up cycling in the first place because her brother was a rider, but he was winning lots of races and she was a bit jealous as a 8-9-year-old, so she decided that she would go out and ride a bike herself, and she's been very, very successful at it so far. The German team are deciding to chase now. .40 seconds is now the advantage for Emma Jorgensen. This is a big, big advantage. Into Bergen, and Jorgensen has a big advantage now. She was disappointed in the time trial because her bike failed the tech check in the individual time trial and she had to borrow a bike at the last minute. So she is making full amends for that right now. Fantastic performance by Emma Jorgensen. Thanks very much to all of you for your messages this morning. Hope you're enjoying the racing. Xylon, hello, nice to hear from you. Emma is turning professional with Cervelo Bigla next year. I forgot to mention that. So Emma Jorgensen will be in the World Tour level races with Cervelo Bigla. She's not far from the end of this first loop of racing. She's about to go past my commentary box. The rain is falling a little outside. End of lap number 1, Jorgensen goes through. So Jorgensen goes through the line, and we'll see what her advantage is as the German team now make their way through too on the front of this peloton. They're trying to get things organised. They recognise the danger because these juniors in the Nations Cup have been racing with each other. The Germans seem to be pretty controlled. They're just working together. The advantage this time is going to be 44 seconds. Average speed of the first lap, 37.107 kilometres an hour. Jorgensen went through then, 37.107 kilometres an hour. Second place and behind was all the German team, so Ricardo Bauernfeind, 42 seconds down. Katharina Hechler, Hannah Ludwig. Behind them was Nicole D'Agostin. Caroline Bowe was also near the front for Denmark. And Sophie Harsh of Luxembourg. Guinel Mekteva of Russia, Martin Jos near the front, 5 for Georgie, Lorena Rebus. There's some still big names of riders who are at the front of the peloton who haven't made their move yet. Just seen Amelia Udvik cross the line for Norway. But some attacks starting to happen now on the bridge. Bearing in mind, though, Jorgensen has grown a 42-second advantage. And that is purely with the ability to climb Salmon Hill and then descend and swoosh down into the finishing area. So she has just literally opened up that advantage by technically being very, very good. The gap suddenly has dropped, though, 22 seconds. So the acceleration at the front has changed the perspective of this race a little. Was a back group of riders. There's the peloton. Peloton now being stretched and split a little as a group of 4 riders try to go across. Caroline Bowe in there for Denmark. The German team keen to try and get something going, so she suddenly lost a huge amount of time. Now the front then is Vittoria Guazzini of Italy as the race starts to come back together. "17 seconds. It's now quite windy along this section, so Jorgensen's finding the going a little bit tough. Here in the peloton, oh, this is the chase group, isn't it? A little chase group here trying to come back, including Svetlana Pashchenko. Number 84 there is from Canada. That's Laurie Jassome. And now a bit of an attack going on at the front as we see the French rider, Emmeline Eustache, trying to jump away. Senses that there's a possibility of getting across to Jorgensen. So Emmeline Eustache going on to this little rise and starting to close up on Jorgensen. The German team always very vigilant right now. And riders seem quite content that they can bring Jorgensen back when they feel like it, which for one moment looked like it wasn't going to be a possibility. Suddenly, her attack is starting to lose its momentum, lose its pace. Probably she's on this really tough little climb, which we saw in the time trial. She still seems to be spinning well, but the fast tempo that she had is a bit lost as we see the race coming back together. Jorgensen is about to be caught. Maybe she's decided that she doesn't want to use all her energy. She's been out there for a long, long time. Jorgensen gets caught, but she's not suffering. She was in the lead then for 12 kilometers. She just drops back into the group. And back here is Abigail Youngworth of the United States of America. The American youngsters are suffering here. Summer Moak also suffering at the back. Summer Moak is known as a very, very good criterium rider. This sort of terrain is not really her terrain. The Dutch still comfortable, sitting in the peloton. Germans just calming things down a little. The German coach just saying, take the tempo down. Well, big day of racing here in Bergen. We will have the under-23 men's road race as well this afternoon, over 191 kilometers, a long way. Here is Summer Moak. I would have expected the American youngsters to be in the mix up here, if you think about how they've done in the last few years, but then they've had some exceptional talents. Chloe Dygert and Emma White, first and second in 2015. Skylar Schneider, silver medalist last year. They've had a good run of it in these championships. And the pace still pretty high. Pfeiffer Georgie, for any British fans, is up near the front. She is a rider who has been riding very well in the Junior Nations Cup. She was the winner of Ghent-Wevelgem. She's also finished second in Borsay as well. She's a very, very strong bike rider. She's the hope really today of the British team. But also in here, Jess Roberts. Jess is a really good track rider. She's in this group. Seen her win quite a few bike races. So Jess Roberts and Pfeiffer Georgie will be the two main riders in here. We know that Rona Callender's been dropped. Jess Roberts, the sister of Amy Roberts, who rides for Wiggle High Five. If you'd like to message me at Ant Macrossan, ANTMCCROSSAN is where you can join me on Twitter. And of course, don't forget at the same time to follow at UCI_cycling for all the news. Paul Slope has sent me a message. Morning to Paul and Badger. Thank you very much for watching as well. At the back of the group then, number 88, Martin Joss. Norwegians not having the best of days in this championship so far. Looks like Summer Moak has managed to work her way back into the peloton, which is good to see for the United States of America. 5 for Georgie of Britain moves up on the right-hand side. The Belgian team arriving now as we head towards Salmon Hill. Onto Salmon Hill. The riders who feel like they're in with a chance of a medal are staying very close to the front of the peloton, moving up when they get to this climb. Sophie Wright is up here. Lauren Murphy, also for Great Britain, is still riding well. You can see Sophie Wright on the left-hand side of the picture. Up near the front is 5 for Georgie. She sits second row, third row actually of this peloton. Emma Jorgensen is still safely in this peloton. Fans of Australia, Madeleine Fasnacht is there, sitting about 6th row if you look out for the colours of her. Jess Roberts sitting alongside her. The Italian team looking very strong, very controlled indeed. On the front, the Luxembourg rider, which is Anne-Sophie Harsh. And at the back, Martine Jos. Maybe that's just her style. She seems to sit at the back of the peloton. Maybe it's her way of just keeping out of trouble. "51 kilometres to go in this junior women's road race. Lorena Wiebes up near the front. Problem for one of the Dutch riders at the back. Hearing on Radio Tour. And things now have calmed down a little. That initial attack by Emma Jorgensen was brought back after 12 kilometres of freedom. And de Ruyter has had a mechanical problem, but Anne de Ruyter's going to work her way back into this group. So many nations represented at the front. Now we've seen that it is possible to go away and stay clear until the finish line if you get enough of a momentum over the top of the climb. So it could be an interesting tactic for some of these squads towards the end of this race. 50 kilometres to go. And Summer Moak has got Anne de Ruyter for company, which means she could try and come back into the peloton. Well, Bergen is certainly hosting a very, very good championship. There's an expo here as well, which everyone is going to. All the main sponsors are in it. Shimano with neutral service. They've got a huge, huge bus here to educate people on their electronic gears and all that sort of thing. And the pace now being set by the German team again. Emma Jorgensen staying near the front. What a great ride she's doing. Very, very confident rider. Just in front of her is her teammate. Just keeping the pace nice and high. Looks like Caroline Bowe is looking comfortable, isn't she? She's the rider sitting third wheel at the moment in the red and white. And big problems then for Anne de Ruyter. She's not going to get back on the climb of Salmon Hill for the second time. Lauren Murphy's just been dropped. Amelia Lutro of Norway has just been dropped as well. This pace being set here by the German rider, Hannah Ludwig. Fourth in the World Championship time trial, is shedding more riders. Martine Joss unable to go with the pace. The Bermudan rider going through. Elisa Rouse trying to close back up to the peloton. So hard, these junior races. Hannah Ludwig setting a very hard tempo on this climb, shelling loads of riders out at the back of this group. Salmon Hill is proving to be tough. Caroline Bowe is near the front, sitting second wheel. But Hannah Ludwig setting a prolific tempo. Represented at the front, Madeleine Fasnacht's looking good. She's just moving up. Norway are losing all their riders now, unfortunately. Amelia Lutro, Martine Joss, which means that only Tyler Björk will be left in this group for the host nation. Disappointment for them. Hannah Ludwig passes the camera, and there's only going to be 15 riders or so at the front. Oh, Emma Jorgensen suffering. She's almost at the top as Hannah Ludwig kicks over to start the descent, where last time Jorgensen was so strong. So a group of maybe 20 riders over the top. (22 to be exact) over the top of the climb. 48 kilometers to go. If you would like to join me on Twitter today, please do. Send me any questions, any messages. If you'd like to get interactive and talk about some of the things that are going on. At Ant McCrossan and at UCI_cycling, the place to follow all the news about these World Championships. A group of 22 then going clear. Jorgensen is in trouble. She is unable to go with the acceleration at this moment in time. I'm just seeing if she can make her way back. She wasn't far off the back of the group. A little bit of a problem for Madeleine Fasnacht. I'm wondering whether she's got a puncture, just judging by the way she went round that corner, which was completely wrong line compared to what she's been doing before. 47 kilometers to go. Maybe Jorgensen just got a bit excited on that first lap, and she's really paying for it now. I'd have expected her to just be a little bit more clever, just hide and sit and wait, because she's good enough to win an elite national championship. Looks like she's coming back now, using that descending prowess to make her way back into the group. Paternoster near the front for Italy. Checking Madeleine Fastnacht is okay for Australia. I'm just looking down on this long stretch group. Down the back of the group is Nicole D'Agostin of Italy, spinning out totally. These riders on restricted gears have got really nothing else apart from just spinning and hoping. Alexandra Stepanova of Russia is the rider who is there with Nicole D'Agostin. .46 kilometers to go. Emma Jorgensen's made her way to the front of the group now. She's there on the right-hand side. Hannah Ludwig in the black helmet for Germany. Paternoster is up there. The Canadians are well represented. A couple of riders from the Netherlands. Oh, look at this. Trying to work out what's going on there. That was strange. Nicole D'Agostin working her way through. Looks like the Italians were going to have a bike change there. And now they've decided not to. Elena Peroni up at the front wearing number 5. I'm trying to work out why one of the Italian riders would want to have a bike change in the pits. Like everything was okay with her. I think it was Letitia Paternoster who was going to have a bike change, was it? Or, yeah, I think it was. Or Gazzini. Paternoster just having a conversation. But the way she was off the bike, I guess because she had that earlier issue. Maybe those gears are still jumping, and she wants to have a bike change, but they weren't ready. Just in front of her, Guazzini. A lot of discussions going on here. I think it's Guazzini who was actually going to have a bike change. No, actually it wasn't. It was Paternoster who was going to have the bike change. Taking loads of gels on board. Yesterday, Annemiek van Vleuten told the juniors, drink a bottle every hour and make sure you take on 60 grams of carbs through gels or other food. Karen Penko in there for Slovenia. Over on the other side is the Japanese rider, and that is Masuzu Shimoyama. Moving up towards the front is Nicole D'Agostin, wearing number 1 for Italy. Italy seem to be a little bit more under control now of what is going on in this race. They kind of lost it for a little while. Lots of activity on Radio Tour about cars being warned to not pace riders back. As you can see, there's a group of maybe 20 riders trying to come back. And all the motorbikes being told they need to move out of the way so they do not pace these riders back. Peloton about to merge with 42 kilometres to go. Onto the cobbles, and the Italian team are all grouped to the front. 3 Italian riders riding tempo. One of the Canadian riders looking strong up here. The Peloton come all back together with 42.7 kilometres to go. The wind is still pretty strong in here at this moment. It's around about 29 kilometres an hour. This time round, things will be very much different. Last time we saw Jorgensen with a 42-second lead. This time it looks like we're going to have a Peloton pretty much all together. Looks like Simone Boillard is the Canadian rider who's in here, who's been staying in the wind a lot, but riding near the front. In fact, there's another Canadian rider just at the back of the group now. That will probably be Maggie Coles-Lister, who's at the back of the group. Madeleine Fashnak taking on more food. Hannah Ludwig takes on another bit of food or a gel or something like that. As we wind our way along the water. It's a bigger peloton now, maybe 40 riders. This is another group of riders who are trying to come back, which includes Megan Heath at the back of the group there, wearing number 33 for the United States of America. Also in this group at the moment is, oh, it's Maggie Coles-Lister, so she's not the rider in the front group. And coming back in now is number 42, Daniela Atarucha of Colombia. The Belarusian there is Annalena Krasko. And also in here, Lauren Murphy, just trying to get herself back to the front of the race if she can. The pace being set there by number 71. That is Petra Machokova. Not far now from the end of the next lap. If you'd like to message me right now, at Macrossan is where you can ask any questions or give me any predictions as to who you think might win today. As we see Germany well represented with Hannah Ludwig. The other nations who are in here, the Dutch have swelled in numbers. The Polish team also with their squad. Jana Golec, Marta Jazulska, Karolina Kumiega and Olivia Majewska, they're in here. The Italians still got the majority of their team here. The Dutch team looks like they've got 4 riders in here now, maybe 5 riders in fact. So the Dutch are all here. They haven't lost a rider by the looks of things. They may have lost 1 rider. They started with Rosemary Amalan, Anne de Ruyter, Noah Jansen, Eva Jonkers, Marit Rijmakers, Lorena Wiebes. That's the team of the Netherlands. Towards the back is a Ukrainian rider. As we make our way along the harbour in Bergen, things are a little bit of a lull right now. No one is prepared to break away. They've seen one of the strongest riders in the race, Emma Jorgensen, break away and be caught very quickly after her gap dropped from 40-odd seconds down to nothing in a few K. So now these riders are going to be a little bit more concerned about trying to break away. What they'll try and do is ride the climb very hard so that it just shells people out of the back of the group anyway. That's going to be, I think, the plan for the coming couple of laps. The wooden houses here on the right-hand side, the tall ship on the left-hand side. And just behind the hotel where yesterday the presidential election took place. That's where David Lepartien, the Frenchman, defeated Brian Cookson of Great Britain to be the new president of the UCI, starting pretty much yesterday afternoon. 38 kilometers to go. So we're heading now to the conclusion of this lap. Hannah Ludwig has pretty much been on the front of this race for the entire time. This group of riders are pretty close to coming back now, with the peloton having slowed right down. Shimano neutral service cars are just going past me on the finish. 38 kilometers to go. And here come the peloton. Peloton on lap number 2 completed. Average speed 35 kilometers an hour. The rider's just being told now that feeding is now allowed from the side of the road. At the front that time, Hannah Ludwig. Simone Boylard, who was second across the line for Canada. Also near the front, Elena Peroni, Lottie Rotman of Belgium, Caroline Boe of Denmark. Also near the front, Vittoria Gozzini, Madeline Fasnacht of Australia, looking very comfortable. And Phil Bailey, you've just told me that as well. Letitia Paternoster is also near the front for Italy. Marta Jaskula of Poland. Franziska Koch of Germany. That front group of riders consists of a total of 55. And the last rider in the group is Maggie Coles-Lister of Canada. So 55 riders, the average speed 35.841 kilometers an hour. And another group coming through who are just over a minute 55 down. That group of riders going to find it very, very hard to come back. So in the front group of riders, let's just run through. There's 55 riders, picking out some names. Peroni is there, Gazzini, Fastnacht, Letitia Paternoster. There's the run through on the screen for you as well. Marit Rijmakers of the Netherlands, Tyler Björk of Norway is up there, Sophie Wright of Great Britain, Lorena Wiebes of the Netherlands is also in the group. The Belarusian Anastasia Kolesava, Noah Janssen of Denmark, of the Netherlands, Masuzu Shimoyama of Japan, Pfeiffer Georgie is also in there, so is Jess Roberts of Great Britain, Erin Atwell of Canada. They're all still in that group. Abigail Youngworth has made it back into the group too, and Maggie Coles-Lister of Canada is the last rider in the group. The second group are 28 seconds down, which includes Lissa Rouse of Bermuda, Emilia Lautro, Martina Joss, Clara Lundmark. As we look here at the front of the peloton. Minna, you're trying to follow the Tissot live timing. Why is it not on for the junior women's road race? I'll try and find out for you. It has been working for all the races so far. Actually, the live timing is working right now. It's just showing one big peloton altogether is probably the issue you've got, as the Norwegian riders are almost back in the group. They have been chasing and haven't given up. Martine Joss and Emilia Lautro are in the convoy now. And this is a good chase by the Norwegians to bring another couple of riders back into this front group, which had been completely decimated, but now is all coming back together. The German team looking strong in here. Tala Björk of Norway sitting nicely near the front. Can she give Norway a medal in this championship? Of course, if you're riding your home country in the World Championships, you can get super motivated to try and do something, and they are nearly there. And once they're in the safety of that peloton, then you can recover. You can go through a bad patch if you just keep chasing and eventually get into the security of that peloton and just try and pull yourself back together, then you can be okay. Although they're about to hit the climb and they are ripping their way into it, the Germans seem to be really starting to motor very fast pace. Caroline Boe is one rider who I'm impressed with from Denmark. She looks very, very comfortable, moving her way up to the front of the group with relative ease. It's Erin Atwell who is near the front now for Canada. It's great to see the strength and depth of the junior riders here. 92 riders. At the front then is Ricarda Bauerfeind. Near the front also for Switzerland is Lara Kreiman. Moving up for Germany very quickly, Hannah Ludwig again, who's been doing a lot of work. Great Britain, Sophie Wright is safely in the group. Just behind her is Pfeiffer Georgie. A little bit further back is Jess Roberts, alongside Madeline Fastnacht. Two American riders, Megan Heath and Abigail Youngworth, keeping each other going. And Lauren Murphy of Great Britain is about to get herself back into this group. Just shows, don't ever give up. You can get yourself back to the front. The Italians are riding piano right now. All the soigneurs at the side of the road. Some clothing being thrown around, arm warmers and other such things. bottles being thrown at Swan Years.
Yeah,
and now we've got a little bit of an attack at the front from one of the riders from France trying to go clear. They had nearly got themselves back in the group, the Bermudan rider and the two Norwegians, and suddenly the pace has gone up very, very high on this climb. They just want to get themselves back in there. They're not far away. Elena Peroni, always near the front for Italy. Fernando kind of looking around at each other now, trying to work out what is going to go on. Bearing in mind the next time through, we're going to have one lap of racing to go. Back through this little slick bit of hot mix across the roundabout. Just shows the different infrastructure changes that have to happen for a World Championship. The UCI advisors, Robbie Hunter, the great sprinter from South Africa, and Paolo Longoborghini, who was a great bike rider too. Those two riders, two of the advisors to this championship, so they just try and decide what is safe, what is required to help with the safe passage of the peloton. Peloton kind of stretching a little bit, and here is the graphic of where the riders are right now. 33 kilometers to go on the profile. So for the first time we see the Great Britain team hit the front. The pace now extended a little bit. Sophie Wright turning up the tempo now on the front of the group. Looking around, one of the Italians almost touching her wheel. Jorgensen is safely recovered. So it's Sophie Wright on the front. Godzini is sitting on her wheel. The Ukrainian rider moving up very nicely there in the blue and yellow and starting a little bit of an attack. Trying to go clear now. This is Ola Kulinic, and an immediate reaction. Kulinic trying to extend the advantage. Tisha Paternoster tracking this one nicely. She's the Italian rider with the neon yellow overshoes, if you are trying to pick her out. And now we get an attack on the right-hand side of the road. One rider going clear from France. Could be Emilian Eustache again. Big attack though. Quite a long way to go to the finish, 32 kilometers. The longest attack we've seen is the only major attack, and that was 12 kilometers with Emma Jorgensen. Suddenly, she just didn't have the legs to continue with it. And this attack seems to be working, but Caroline Bowe is coming back to her, asking the Italian riders to close the gap. Huge amount of work being done there by Caroline Bowe. I'm wondering whether she is riding for Emma Jorgensen, keeping everything together. And Jorgensen could win this one in a sprint or with a last-minute attack. Pace comes steady and the race comes all back together. Peloton splitting all over the place now. These three riders are so close to coming back. They just cannot get there. On to Salmon Hill then. And it looks like we're going to get an attack. And the British riders have decided this is the time to up the pace. Sophie Wright goes clear. And she takes with her Letitia Paternoster. Big attack now from Great Britain and Italy. Immediately on this climb. Big move now happening. Paternoster is one of the pre-race favourites. Bronze medalist in the European Championships. 5th in this race in 2016. The French rider doesn't look like she's able to go with this attack. And now some reaction. One of them is Madeleine Fasnacht of Australia. She has to try and go with certain moves. She's the only rider in her team, so she's got to ride off the rest of the riders. A great move by Madeleine Fasnacht of Australia. This race is starting to stretch, and it's stretching significantly now. Fasnacht now jumps all of these riders and goes clear. Big move by Madeleine Fasnacht. Look at the effort on her face. So it's Fasnacht, Sophie Wright, Letitia Paternoster, Kilinich, all at the front of this group now. One of the Canadian riders is there, seems to me to be riding really well. And Fasnacht, what a championship she's having. Now she's going clear for Australia. She's decided to see whether she can split this race even more. Comes from Tasmania, from Hobart, was a mad on triathlon and decided to switch to just pure bike racing, a little bit like Richie Port did. Maggie Coles-Lister is being distanced, and Madeleine Fasnacht now is going clear. 16 riders in the chasing group at 30 kilometres to go. The strong riders are finding Salmon Hill to their liking. Fasnacht is one of the strongest riders in this peloton today. Clicking our way through the gears. Thank you very much for all your messages this morning. Let's take a few of them. Michelle Graham, you've just tuned in. Thanks for watching. Lauren Murphy getting dropped again. She got back in and now she's getting distanced. Do the riders have race radio on? No, they ride totally to a pre-agreed plan or to what they're being told from the side of the road and by feel of what the race is doing. Another group of riders being dropped here. So this race really is stretching. Kylie, thank you very much for watching, and you're cheering on Maddie Fasnacht today. Must be proud to watch her as an Australian fan. Yeah, sorry to everyone who's been following the TISO timing a little bit. You normally get the lap times. There's a little bit of a glitch right now because normally we get all the lap times too, but we're not getting them that quick either. So bear with us, and the TISO team are working on getting all that working. Cycling Watercolours, thanks for your message. Apple Wolves, thanks for your message too. Just to update you on the lap times that I've got so far, for those of you who like lap stats. Let me see what I can give you. Lap number 1 was an average speed 37,107 kilometers an hour. Lap 2, 35.841 is the average speed now of the race. The average speed of the lap last time was 35.407 was the lap statistic. Total time of racing after 2 laps was 1 hour, 3 minutes and 57 seconds. Hope that helps to all of you who like to follow those sort of stats. So at the front of the race then, things are stretching. Meanwhile, further on back, there are groups of 1 or 2 riders all over this road. Riders who hope to win this championship now being distanced. Sofia Rodriguez is the rider in red and yellow from Spain. Just in front is Hanna Gruber-Stadler of Austria. A little bit of an attack now going on for one of the riders from Italy. Yeah, I just had a look at the TSO timing on the web for all of you, and yeah, I see what you mean. I'll pass the information on. But right now, the TSO guys are in another truck. But hopefully if I can give you out some of the stats, for those of you who love stats on the various lap times, I'll give you what I can. And the only stats we're getting is at the end of each lap, not at any other intermediate point. So you're seeing not much less than I'm seeing as well. On the front of the race then, Vittorio Gazzini. Sounds like there's been a crash in the Peloton from Radio Tour. In fact, it's Elena Peroni who's gone clear now. Elena Peroni now at the front of the race as we go under the hospital. Crash here for the Milano Stash. She's standing up. She's pretty shaken, but she's okay. And Elena Peroni now is going clear for Italy, the world champion. Of the time trial. You don't want to let the world champion of the time trial go clear. You can see firmly how far she is, really into time trial mode. She reminds me a little bit of Elisa Longo Borghini, the way she rides, and now 2 riders coming across to her. One of them is Letitia Paternoster, and she's been joined by the Russian rider Maria Novolodskaya, 5th in the World Championships time trial. This group really is splitting and stretching now. I think Madeleine Fasnacht's little attack has hurt her legs because she's not in this chasing group that's just split. Bit of disappointment then for the Australian. She's desperately trying to come back. I can see her just behind this group, but Peroni now has really put the pressure on. And the German riders are trying to close this one, in particular Hannah Ludwig, who's done so much work. Over the top of this climb is really hard, and that's what all the male pros were saying yesterday, that you go over the top of the climb and then it's still putting the pressure on. You have to keep the pace on, and the race can suddenly split and you do not realise. Elena Peroni is opening up this gap. It looks like, to me, that Madeleine Fasnacht has come back to the front group. So that move of hers really hurt the legs at the wrong time. She's nearly back in the group. With her is Nicole D'Agostin. This is so flat out now. But Peroni still has this advantage. And just to let you know that the two riders who crashed are now back on their bikes and racing. But Elena Peroni now is the solo leader. Here she is in the blue of Italy. Her advantage, 6 seconds. Nicole D'Agostin is in here. Madeleine Fasnacht, Caroline Boer of Denmark, also in here for Canada. Looks like we have Simone Boilard. She's safely in here. But Peroni really is shifting now. 12 seconds her advantage. She goes on to the cobbled section. She looks really, really focused. And now a little bit more of a stretch as Emma Jorgensen decides that she's going to try and go across, and that would be a formidable combination of those two riders at the front. There's a few riders' legs really hurting now. Some big gears being used as they put the pressure on over the top of that little cobbled section, but Peroni building her advantage. There she is as we look down from the helicopter. 16 seconds now is her advantage. This is the next group of riders. Karen Long, thanks for your message, wondering how much of a climb have they got in the race each lap. The main climb is 1.4 kilometers. With an average gradient of 6.4%, so it's a pretty difficult climb, but the rest of this race has got hardly any flat road on it. They're either going slightly uphill, slightly downhill. It's really strength sapping. As you can see from here, another little slightly uphill section, false flats that really hurt the legs. For Georgie still in here for Great Britain. I think it's either Sophie Wright or Jess Roberts who's in here as well. Just looking down, I think it's Sophie Wright. In fact, it's Jess Roberts who's in here for Britain. Emma Jorgensen for Denmark. No, it is Sophie Wright. So Sophie Wright and wearing number 13, for Georgie, winner of Ghent-Wevelgem in the Nations Cup. In the colours of Australia, Maddie Fasnacht, Caroline Boer, Emma Jorgensen. For Russia in here, Elena Petchenko. She's still growing this gap now to 16 seconds. Stuart Pickering missing the flamingo of the time trial. I agree with you. It was a welcome addition to that timing point. Lance, Alessia Vigilia of Italy is not in the group for Italy. She didn't start, she wasn't in the team. She's a very strong time trialist, but they named Nicole D'Agostin, Martina Fidanza, Vittoria Gazzini, Letitia Paternoster, Elena Peroni as their team. They didn't name the silver medalist in the time trial. This is the next group on the road, which is a surprise that we have got Lorena Wiebes, the European champion, in the second group. Will Bjergfeldt, thanks for your message. Thanks for watching. 16 riders in the chase group, 20 seconds behind Elena Peroni. Well, there's a lovely shot of Bergen, the World Heritage City. was first founded in 1070. The harbour that the riders are just riding around. It's on the UNESCO World Heritage List. It's a European city of culture and a UNESCO city of gastronomy as well, and I can confirm that. We've had some very nice meals. One of them a couple of nights ago with Sir Gary Verity of Welcome to Yorkshire, who announced yesterday for women's racing that they have extended their women's race to 2 days and their men's race to 4 days. All around Bergen, 7 mountains. One of them is Mount Florian, where the time trial finished. 22 seconds now for Peroni. I can confirm that Mount Florian is pretty steep and hard. I ran up it yesterday. It's right up here above Bergen, and it's apparently one of the runs you have to do, so I did it, and I must admit I didn't go running this morning. It's hard. Peroni is working well now. There's a little bit of GPS to show you where the groups are. Group number 1 in green, 22 seconds down. Group number 2 at 35 seconds. That's the group in red, and Peroni rightly is in the blue colour for Italy. Well, the chase is on, but it's not organised, and that's pretty much the pattern of junior racing. That's how it goes. The Russian rider has decided that she's not too happy with this. This is Elena Petchenko. Big counter-attack here. Well, the promised rain hasn't happened, which is fantastic news. Everyone was saying yesterday, if it pours with rain in the junior women race, that would could be really, really difficult. Letitia Paternoster attacks. 5 for Georgie is just sitting in here very, very quietly for Great Britain. And she is a very, very good rider for the final lap. Big crowd here in Bergen, Friday, enjoying the racing, the first of the road races. They've come out in so many numbers and so many nationalities now in this city who are enjoying the racing. Great noise, fantastic atmosphere. This time round, these riders are going to get 1 lap of racing to go. Elena Peroni of Italy, the lone leader of this race. She makes her way now into the final 100 meters before she gets the bell. Great atmosphere, 1 lap of racing to go. And the gap is not going to be that big. The lap that time, she averaged 37.492 kilometers an hour. The average speed of the race now, 36.375 kilometers an hour. Elena Peroni 14 seconds ahead of the next group of riders, which numbers 15. And in that group, Elena Petchenko, Madeleine Fasnacht, Hannah Ludwig, Sophie Wright, and Sophie Harsh, Simone Boylard, Ola Kulinic, Jade Weil, Vita Music, Emma Jorgensen, Nicole D'Agustin, 5 for Georgie, Maria Novoletskaya. Clara Caponi of France is also in here, and Caroline Bowe. So a group of riders in with a chance now of winning this medal. I think the medals will come from this group. About 17 riders now in with a chance. So Peroni, Petchenko, Fasnacht, Ludwig, Wright, Harsh, Boylard, Kulinic, Weil, Music, Paternoster, Jorgensen, D'Agustin, Georgie, Novoletskaya, and Caponi and Bowe. Boa. They are the riders who are in with a shout of the medals. The next group of riders are 1 minute 21 down. There's some really top riders that are not even in the front group, like Lorena Wiebes, who's the European champion, who's just not having a good day today. The course doesn't suit her. For me, there's a couple of riders in that group who have not even shown to be near the front yet, and one of them is Pfeiffer Georgie. One of them for me is Clara Caponi, and I think also Simone Boilard of Canada. Those riders are being really clever. The other rider who's been clever is Anne-Sophie Harsh of Luxembourg. Just hasn't even looked at the front of the race yet. But they have to worry about Elena Peroni. They can't let her stay away. Here's the rundown then of how the riders crossed the line that time. It was Peroni, Pachenko, Fasnacht, the first three riders across the line. So there's a few riders just sitting in the group. 17 riders now in total in with a chance of the medals. Roger Hitchner, thanks for your message. Can we expect the teams to be better organised in elite women? Yes, absolutely. I think the juniors actually are pretty organised. They know what their plan is, but the execution of it can sometimes be a little bit more difficult, particularly when you think of the climbs. You just don't know how you're going to perform. The elite women will be totally organised. They'll know exactly how they're going to combine to try and bring their nation the victory in the elite women. The big challenge for everybody is trying to beat the Dutch. They've got Anna van der Breggen, Annemiek van Vleuten, Marianne Vos, just to name 3 riders that are in their team. 16 seconds for Peroni, who is actually taking the pressure off Letitia Paternoster, who for me is one of the race favourites in this group in the neon yellow overshoes. Kilinic is attacking to try and close this one up. So chasm, is this year's race harder, or is last year's race in Doha harder? I think they've equally got their challenges, in that Doha was so difficult with the heat, but this is hard because of the climbs for sure. And also it's as windy as it was in Doha on this day last year, and it's raining. So it's a very, very tough bike race today. If you'd like to message me at Ant McCrossan, and at the same time, why not follow at UCI_cycling for all the news. Peroni now onto this little rise. This is not the main climb. You'll notice that she's got the transponder on the front fork of the bike. We've also on her number, which you can't quite see, there's a little test GPS system that is being tried out to see whether it's possible to get that data that you just saw just now on the screen of each ride, just purely of the Peloton groups, but to actually get the GPS tracking of all the riders. And it's a little gadget that's stuck into the number. Kilinic at the front. Madeleine Fasnacht looks like she's recovered. Elena Peroni in the neon yellow. Sophie Wright moves across for Britain again. Looking great in the climb, Sophie Wright. I think Fasnacht got a bit excited on that last lap as we hit the main climb now. This is one of the climbs on the way to Salmon Hill. I think these riders have got to be a bit careful to not give Peroni more than 10 seconds or so, and to bring her back before the top of the major climb. For me, Jorgensen's a big danger for these riders because she's won an elite title, beating Amelia Didriksen of Denmark, the world champion, just before Didriksen actually won the world title. And she's only a junior, Jorgensen. And we've seen the way she can descend. The problem the riders now have got, as we go over this little rise, the problem these riders have got is this rain on the descent. And they're going to be tired now, and some risks will be taken in trying to win this world title. Fasnacht, for me, getting a little bit excited. She doesn't need to chase. She's a solo rider, and Peroni is an incredibly fast bike rider. Look at the speed of Elena Peroni. She's now opened up a little bit more of an advantage. 20 seconds. And for those of you who've been following the TISO timing, I did say they were working on it. It's now working. So you're able to see all the lap times on tisotiming.com is where you can go if you want to have a little look. It's all now working, so you can all take a deep breath, and karma is back in the timing world. "14 kilometers, she's got 23 seconds now. It's a little bit of a slick run into this corner. Now we're seeing what happens in the rain. Luckily it's now pouring with rain. Oh, two riders crash. Sorry, one rider's crashed. The Russian rider hits the deck. It's slick there. Anna Pechenko said it is slick in these corners. The British rider almost crashing. Nicole D'Agostine also just avoids Elena Pechenko. But you could see her going then. Suddenly the wheel went, and now we've got the acceleration at the front. There'll be no waiting for anyone here. They will take immediate advantage of this. Caroline Bowe doing a great job for Emma Jorgensen. The Canadian rider, for me, is doing everything absolutely right today. Simone Boilard. And this is Elena Peroni, 17 seconds. Simone Boilard of Canada producing a great ride so far. The race is coming back together now. Sophie Wright goes to the front as we now get towards the climb. Five for Georgie safely back on. The Luxembourg rider in second place there in the turquoise, and Sophie Harsh. And Pechenko, who crashed, is trying desperately to come back. Elena Peroni is still there, 20 seconds. Is she going to time trial her way to victory? Kilinic goes again for the Ukraine. This is her terrain. She likes the climbs. Peter van der Veen, I'm glad you're happy that TISO timing is now working. Creaky Cranks thinks it's going to come down to a big group finish. Lucas, you're right, it was a big understatement about the Dutch in the women's race. They have got so many stars in that team. The big question is how they work it. "17 seconds. Letitia Paternoster is doing a great team job now of keeping Peroni ahead. And now she's on to the more time trial and terrain. She'll build her advantage yet again. She's rock solid on that bike when she gets into terrain of a time trial, isn't she? She hardly even moves that back. It's just literally churn the pedals over. She's going significantly faster on the front, and Sophie Harsh. Just behind her is the German rider Hannah Ludwig, Letitia Paternoster, Boilard, Boa. And now they're all looking at each other, and the gap goes out to 27 seconds. Are they seeing the gold medal disappearing? Has anyone got the legs now to close the gap to Elena Peroni? 32 seconds now. Elena Peroni is riding away, and the Italians are happy with this situation. Nicole D'Agostine goes to the front and thinks, okay, that's it. Caroline Bowe talking to Madeleine Fasnacht, having a bit of a conversation. Can they combine to bring this race back together? Hannah Ludwig waving to friends at the side of the road. But the problem right now is it's 38 seconds to this rider. This is Salmon Hill. She gets over the top of this. They think the gold medal is going to Elena Peroni. 12 kilometers to go. And now the reaction comes from Pfeiffer Georgie of Great Britain. Letitia Paternoster goes with her. Elena Peroni right now, the world champion of the time trial, the European champion of the time trial. Now, Sophie Wright is the rider who's trying to close the gap. She's really riding well today. And now Letitia Paternoster has decided to go with it. So suddenly this race is kicking off. On to Salmon Hill for the final time. And the Russian rider who crashed is getting distance. Sophie Wright is unable to go with the acceleration of Letitia Paternoster. The Italians are really dishing this out to the rest of these riders. Madeleine Fasnacht trying to go with it. And these medals are disappearing up the road. Fasnacht is trying to close the gap. Boa's on the wheel. Just behind her is Jade Veal of the French squad. A couple of places back is Vita Music. But Letitia Paternoster is trying to ride her way across to her teammates. This is a big, big acceleration. Paternoster is able to go, but is she going to bring Elena Peroni back? The French are using her as the carrot to close the gap on Elena Peroni, and are they going to jump her and try and go clear? Very good performance here now, everyone just trying to hold on. So at the front then, the French riders. Kulinic is there for the Ukraine, Madeleine Fasnacht. Boilard of Canada, for me, is looking superb. The French now believe it's time to bring this race back together. But have they got the pace to do it? Caroline Boe in second place for Denmark. Emma Jorgensen isn't there anymore. She's getting distance, so it's all about Caroline Boe for the medal for Denmark. So it's Fasnacht behind. Peroni's up the road. Pfeiffer Georgie of Great Britain on the back of the group. Boilard. Kulinic tries to give it a little bit more acceleration. Peroni, when she's under effort, looks so much like Elisa Longo-Borghini. 24 seconds now as Kulinic tries to close it. The gap is coming down. Boilard looks good as she moves up for Canada. Just needs to take that little bit of a risk to bring Peroni back. Fasnacht alongside her. Pfeiffer Georgie hanging on the back of the group, still there. You have to risk losing to win sometimes. This gap is closing, but they have to catch her before the top of this climb, because give Peroni the distance over the top and she will go clear and she will win this gold medal. Fasnacht has been one of the strongest riders in this race. She gives it another big turn at the front on the drops on this climb. That's impressive. Paternoster still spinning despite that big attack. Peroni still has an advantage, 18 seconds on this climb. Now you've seen what the climb is like. This elite men's and elite women's road races are going to be absolutely fantastic at the weekend. Here's the group, 22 seconds behind. Another big acceleration. They've got to combine to bring her back. Paternoster will do everything she can to stop the chase. Pfeiffer Georgie sitting on the wheels. Another couple of riders trying to come across, including Jorgensen. So we've got about 7 riders in the chase. Elena Peroni still clear. The French, Music and Veal. Pfeiffer Georgie suffering at the back of the group here for Great Britain. She is one of the pre-race favourites, with no doubt. Now they're over the top. They have to work hard. They cannot let her go, because this gold medal is disappearing around that corner just in front. 10 kilometres now to go. Caroline Bauer looks around to see where Emma Jorgensen is. Fastnack looking to see if there's anybody there. This is a great junior women's race. Thanks to all of you for watching. If you've just joined now, the race situation is 10 kilometres to go. She asks how much? What is my gap now? 20 seconds, the motorbike tells her. And the French now look organised a little bit more, with Kilinich on the second wheel. Boylard is there, Bauer, Fastnacht. Pfeiffer Georgie doesn't have the legs to go with the acceleration that time for Britain. So France have got strength in numbers and they need to use it. Otherwise, the gold medal is going to Italy. Inside the final 10 kilometres of the Junior Women's World Championship. Peroni, the best time trialist in the world as a junior, just won the title a few days ago. She's also won the European title. She was bronze medalist in the national championships in the time trial. She looks so fast. Look at the speed of her. Still rock solid on that bike. 27 seconds. This to me looks like this is where the gold medal is going. She just looks like she's right on top form. Can the chasers bring her back? Got to be a little bit careful through these corners on the white paint. You don't want to slide. Well, these riders are trying somehow to work together, but it's so difficult off the top. Is that Jorgensen? Jorgensen is coming back now. She's without doubt the fastest descender. Well, Jorgensen has powered her way over the top of this climb, and now Jorgensen is trying to come back to Peroni. That's a very, very good performance by the Danish rider. Sophie Wright still there for Great Britain, sitting on the back of the group. I'm just seeing if Jorgensen has got herself back to the front of the race. This is Peroni, 7.7 kilometres to go. Looks across yet again at the motorbike. She's looking to find out what sort of time she's got. And I'm just looking here to see this group, and it is Jorgensen. Jorgensen has gone past the group, so she held on enough over the top of Salmon Hill, and now she's attacked them all. She's doing exactly what she did on the first lap. This was obviously her plan, tested out on the first lap, and then on the final lap used the same tactic. Now it's a chase between these two riders, a full-on pursuit. But her gap now on Radio Tour, 28 seconds for Elena Peroni. Jorgensen is the second rider on the road. But Jorgensen doesn't seem to have the legs. Letitia Paternoster is closing her down. The gap only 14 seconds though. Is this race going to come back together? "18 seconds now the advantage. 13 riders in the chase. Maddie Fasnacht looks for a little bit more food. Meanwhile, they all calm down. I think they realise that the silver medal is what they're going to be fighting for. Elena Peroni now still time trialling away. Head down a little bit more, just looking for a bit more speed, trying to stay as low at the front of that bike as she can. Badger enjoying watching the Ukrainian rider attacking all the time. Agree, at least she's given it a good go on that climb. Kling CC hoping for Sophie Wright. You're right, she's a very good mountain bike rider. She's been looking very good on the climb, but now it's going to come down to a sprint into Bergen. 23 seconds, 6 kilometers to go. Kilinich is still trying to bring it back. Madeline Fasnacht is there, and Sophie Harsh, but this rider has got daylight. She looks around again. There's no one in the same road. Elena Peroni has not got far to go now. Can she add another world title to her already great list of wins? This would be a big double. To admit, this motorbike should really be behind her. 20 seconds. "19 seconds now the advantage." Jorgensen tries again. Jorgensen looks really tired though. She's super strong, but she's given it so much on that first lap. In towards the centre of Bergen now. 4.8 kilometers to go for this talented Italian rider. Peroni comes down into the slick, wet cobbles. The concentration on her face. Takes a deep breath. Licks her lips a little bit. She's safely onto that cobbled section. She took a little micro rest into that corner. And now Sophie Wright is the chaser. Sophie Wright trying to bring Five for Georgie forward to try and win a medal here. Five for Georgie has been one of the most successful young riders in the Nations Cup. Maddie Fasnacht's legs are giving out. She uses a massive gear across those cobbles. Every single lap, Maddie Fasnacht is in the biggest gear on her bike going across there. Sophie Wright on the front, following her Letitia Paternoster. Caroline Bowe on the left-hand side. Meanwhile, the Italian doesn't seem to have any problems on the cobbles at all. See the chain bouncing all over the place. What a stunning attack by this young rider. You have to admire the way she's gone out to try and win this race, because she has time trialled so much of the last part of this race on her own, and it's really windy, it's pouring with rain, it's not that warm. This is a great result so far for Italy. Caroline Bowe trying to shut the gap, slightly uphill, 18 seconds, 3.8 kilometers to go. Jorgensen would certainly fancy the chance in the sprint. I think this gap is getting too big. 23 seconds now on Radio Tour. Well, thank you to all of you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the racing. Boa has literally done the majority of the work on the front. I'd love to see if you could analyse the percentage time on the front. This young rider, without doubt, has been one of the riders on the front of this peloton all the time. Elena Peroni. Now the motorbike drops in behind. There's a bit of a headwind on this course, so you can't tailor. Don't want to give her any advantage at all. She's just got to race on her own. Through the left-hander. 20 seconds now is the advantage with 2.7k to go. Jorgensen moving up. It looks like it's too big a gap to close, but Caroline Boa's trying her hardest. Jorgensen getting ready for the sprint. Fasnacht sitting on the back. Boylard is still there for Canada. Pfeiffer Georgie of Great Britain is still in there. So is Sophie Wright. And the rest of the group that we have seen. But is there one little twist left? Caroline Boa on the front. Jorgensen third wheel. The Russian rider Novladskaya, fifth in the time trial, is up there. Kilinich, Boylard moves up. Wright is there, and Sophie Harsh. Three of the French riders. Maddie Fasnacht over on the right for Australia. She's already got one bronze medal. And Pfeiffer Georgie right at the back, who seems to have had a day where she is suffering, but still there. Caroline Boa, look at the way she is riding. Inside the final 2 kilometres for the Italian time trial sensation, Elena Peroni. Boa's legs have gone now. She has nothing left. Kilinich goes to the front. Fasnacht is trying to hold on to the wheel. Jorgensen does her shoes up. They've all realised they're going for silver. And Elena Peroni is, at this moment in time, going to add the double to her palmares. But where are they? She goes round the corner onto the harbour area. And there they are. They're just behind. Elena Peroni then has time trialled her way over the climbs with a magnificent solo ride. She looks so strong. She's still got 20 seconds. It's never really reduced below that for a long, long time. The rest of this group are getting themselves set up for a sprint. 1 kilometre to go now for Peroni. A perfect ride by her. Now it's all going to be about the silver medal for the other group. Peroni's making her way now in towards the finish. She has one slight uphill to go. Then a right-hander and then a run into the finishing line. And she can set herself up for victory. And she is solo. She's going to win this race in the best way you can win a world title. She's already won the individual time trial. She won the European Championship individual time trial, and she's used that skill. Oh, a big crash. Fasnacht hits the wheels and crashes just before the finish. Disappointment for the Australian rider. Fasnacht hits the deck with Kilinich just before the finish. Gets back on. Shimano look after her. Meanwhile, at the finishing line, the final turn. Perfection in performance by Elena Peroni of Italy. A stunning ride. She can now smile. She clicks her way through the gears. She can take her time. She can take the glory and the adulation of the crowd. Elena Peroni, emotional moment for her as she sits up. She zips up the blue of Italy. Elena Peroni is the world champion. A stunning double by Elena Peroni. Now the sprint. Jorgensen is looking for this for Denmark. Jorgensen is there. Fight for Georgie challenging on the other side for the bronze, but she's not going to get it. Jorgensen gets the silver. And in third place is Letitia Paternoster of Italy. So it is Elena Peroni, Jorgensen and Letitia Paternoster, the Italians yet again, get two riders on the podium. Madeline Fastnack crashes just before the finish. Kilinic is there. Going to be a top 20 finish for these two riders. The touch of wheels, the tiredness shows. Fastnack crossed the line then and does Australia proud. Elena Peroni. What a sensational way to win a world title. Nicole D'Agostine was tailed off just before the finish. She's with Hannah Ludwig. And Elena Peroni now will make her way to be interviewed and to go on the podium. Nicole D'Agostine can be happy. Her team have looked after their right rider all day. 12 seconds was her advantage at the finish line. A very, very well-deserved victory. And the arrival of the rest of the groups coming in now. There's confirmation then of the riders. Peroni wins ahead of Jorgensen. Paternoster of Italy takes another double for Italy in the podium positions in the juniors. Then Novlaskaya, Veal, Georgie, Caponi, Boylard, Harsh. They are the riders who made up the top 9. And Evita Muzic was in 10th place for France. An exciting race to start off our road races here in Bergen. The next group about to come in. Making their way down to this final turn in towards the finishing line for the second group. What a hard race that was. 500 metres to go. The Dutch riders were washed away today. Not any one of them in the front group, which is a huge surprise. This is all about who finishes in 17th place. 18th place, sorry. And the Dutch riders leading in, the Polish riders there. Huge sprint then for the finish. And who is going to take 18th place in this world title? And it looks like it was Marta Jaskulska of Poland, who finished in 18th place. They were just over 4 minutes down. Well, the rain has been falling, but the crowd are still out. Let's hear now from Elena Peroni, the new world champion.
World champion of the time trial, world champion again today. Can you believe it?
È incredibile, davvero. Io non so neanche cosa dire, sono contenta, finita e davvero non so cosa dire, davvero sono davvero contenta. Ci credevo molto anche per oggi e quando sono partita pensavo fosse troppo presto e quando invece mancavano 10 km non mi sembrava vero, ho dato tutto, sono arrivata coi crampi ma ho dato tutto, davvero, sono davvero contenta.
What was the tactic today? The tactic was to take off early for you, for Paternoster?
La tattica era quella di aspettare la metà della gara e renderla dura alla fine del terzo giro in poi. E infatti quando sono partita che mancava ancora un giro e mezzo, ho pensato fosse troppo presto, però è andata bene, molto bene e sono davvero contenta.
What is your dream now in the future, for your future? You're just a junior rider, two-time world champion.
Beh, per adesso mi godo questa maglia e il prossimo anno passerò professionista, quindi spero di fare bene anche lì e di crescere sia sotto il livello individuale che sportivo e magari ripetermi più avanti in un campionato del mondo elite.
One word in English for the English viewers. Can you believe it? 2 world titles. It's just an incredible day for you and for Italy.
Davvero incredibile. In English. It's such amazing, and yeah, it's not so easy to win 2 world championships, and yeah, I don't know what to say, and very happy, and yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Main sponsor UCI Road World Championships 2017 in Bergen. Adhesives, seals, chemical products for building.
Well, as we look down over Bergen, let's take a look then at the highlights of today's race. It was Emma Jorgensen who set the standard for everyone earlier on in the race, using her very strong descending ability to very good effect. But eventually she was caught, probably far too early for her to be going clear for the entire race. As the race continued, lots of attacks, and with 27 kilometers to go, this young rider went clear. Elena Peroni, the world champion of the time trial, European champion of the time trial. And at this point of the race, probably everyone was thinking that she wouldn't stay clear. But how wrong they were. Despite numerous chases, her advantage grew over 20 seconds, and very rarely did it come back. As they went over the top of the climb on the run-in back to Bergen, Emma Jorgensen caught the chasing group and went clear. She was eventually caught again, desperately trying to get this silver medal. Peroni soloed to victory. Time to zip up her jersey and give Italy another gold medal. An emotional moment for Elena Peroni. Behind her, despite all her work, Emma Jorgensen still had the strength to take the silver medal, and the Italians doubled up on the podium yet again with Letizia Paternoster. It's all about the Azzurri Blu of Italy today. A great result a stunning time trial for 27K. Well, let's take a look then at the winning performance. There she is, Elena Peroni of Italy. So we wait now for the victory ceremony to present the medals to the riders, Peroni, Jorgensen and Paternoster. The race this afternoon will be the under-23 men's race. That's going to be held over 191 kilometres. Any moment then, we will bring you today's victory ceremony of the Junior Women's Road Race. Looking down from the top of Mount Florian. As we get ready for this victory ceremony, the first road race rainbow bands will be awarded.
Challenges that shifted goals become reality.
Elisa Longo-Borghini has just tweeted Italian power. The two of them look so alike when they're riding flat out from the front. It's really interesting to watch.
It's never coming off. Put your bike on. Let's go.
In a few moments then, the victory ceremony. The top 10 today then: Elena Peroni of Italy, Emma Jorgensen of Denmark, Letitia Paternoster of Italy, Maria Novlodskaya of Russia, Jade Veal of France, Pfeiffer Georgie of Great Britain, Clara Caponi of France, Simone Boylard of Canada, and Sophie Harsh of Luxembourg, Evita Muzic of France. The top 10. Also in the top 20, Caroline Bowe of Denmark, Sophie Wright of Great Britain, Madeleine Fasnacht of Australia finished 14th, Hannah Ludwig in 15th place for Germany.
på cykel i Bergen 2017.
So we're getting ready now for the victory ceremony of today's race.
Award ceremony of the UCI Road World Championships, Women's Junior Individual Time Trial. Road race.
Medaljeseremoni for UCIs verdensmesterskap på sykkel, damer junior landeveis ritt fellesstart.
The medals and the jersey will be presented by Mr. Renato Di Rocco, Vice President of the UCI.
Medaljene og VM-trøya blir presentert av herr Renato Di Rocco, vicepresident i det internasjonale sykkelforbundet UCI.
In third place and winner of the bronze medal, representing Italia.
På tredje plass og vinner av bronsemedaljen fra Italia, Letizia Paternoster.
Letizia Paternoster takes the bronze medal for Italy.
In second place and winner of the silver medal, representing Denmark.
På andre plass og vinner av sølvmedaljen fra Danmark, Jorgensen.
Emma Jorgensen takes the silver medal.
In first place, world champion and winner of the UCI gold medal, representing Italia.
På første plass, verdensmester og vinner av UCIs gullmedalje fra Italia, Elena Peroni.
The double is done by Elena Peroni. The Italian adds the road race to the time trial. Well done to Elena Peroni.
The flowers will be presented by Mr. Harald Tidemann Hansen, President of Bergen 2017 and member of the UCI Management Committee.
Blomstene blir overrakt av Harald Tidemann Hansen, president i organisasjonskomiteen for Bergen 2017 og medlem i UCIs Management Committee.
Tisha Paternoster on the podium. Some proud Italian fans watching the racing. There she is, the double in the junior titles.
And other
Elena
prizes will
Peroni.
be presented by Renato Di Rocco, Vice President of the UCI.
En spesiell VM-klokken fra samarbeidspartner Tissot blir overrakt til vinneren av Renato Di Rocco, vicepresident i UCI.
And another watch to go with the one she got the other day.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, in honor of our new world champion, let's hear the national anthem of Italy.
Mine damer og herrer, for å hylle den nye
Now the
verdensmesteren
national
spiller vi
anthem.
nå Italias nasjonalsang.
Ladies and gentlemen, please once again your applause for our medalists.
The national anthem of Italy and the double world champion Elena Peroni. What a world championships she has had.
Jorgensen, Letizia Paternoster.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't go away. In a few moments, we are going to have
there's our podium.
for our top
Letitia
three
Paternoster, Emma
women's
Jorgensen,
teams
Elena
in the
Peroni.
UCI Nations Cup.
There's the results of today's women's junior road race. Peroni, an outstanding victory. Counting down all the results of today. That group of riders coming in over 4 minutes down. And then the next group from 43 onwards over 8 minutes distant from the winner. Tough race out there today. That climb instrumental in everything that happened. And the riders who didn't finish the race today. What a great race we've had. Elena Peroni taking a double world title. Thank you very much to all of you for joining us as she signs her name on some of the rainbow jerseys. Thanks for your company today. Goodbye for now.